I still got one bitch. I'ma smack the wig off. And then I'ma change.
You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
Punching me.
Punching you where?
My face.
Where on your face? Point to it for us.
I don't remember, but everywhere on
You
my
don't
face.
remember where she was punching you in your face?
In my face.
I mean, this is why you killed her, right?
No.
Right?
No.
It's not?
No.
You didn't kill her because she was fighting you?
No, I killed her because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach.
Thompson says she was 2 months pregnant at the time. She says Hodgson cut her stomach with a piece of glass. Thompson grabbed the glass and then blacked out. She allegedly awoke to Hodgson dead on the floor. Gruesome autopsy photos of Hodgson's body show she was stabbed dozens of times.
On a quiet July morning in 2022, inside a stylish apartment just north of Fort Lauderdale, a 23-year-old woman's life came to a violent and heartbreaking end. Her name was Kayla Hodgson, bright, beautiful, and full of life. She had plans, she had love, and she had no idea that someone was coming for her, all the way from New York City. Her killer, prosecutors say, boarded a plane with a deadly purpose, driven by rage, jealousy, and obsession. That killer was Sakiyna Thompson, a 31-year-old woman from Queens, New York, who could not accept that her ex-boyfriend had moved on. What started as a love triangle turned into a deadly storm of anger, betrayal, and revenge. By the time police arrived at the Tamarac Village apartments, Kayla was gone. The walls told the story of a violent struggle. And soon, detectives would piece together a chilling trail, from social media messages to flight records, that revealed this was no crime of passion in the heat of the moment. This was premeditated, planned, personal. She was young, ambitious, and loved by everyone who knew her. She'd only recently started seeing a new boyfriend, unaware that this connection would spark a jealous fury miles away. Within days, the woman behind the killing was tracked down in another state. And her story, the one she told investigators and later the court, was just as shocking as the crime itself. She said she blacked out. She said it was self-defense, but the jury didn't buy it. What really happened that night, and what drove a woman to travel hundreds of miles to confront her ex's new love, is one of the most disturbing modern tales of obsession, heartbreak, and murder born in the age of social media. You are on True Crime Diaries, a place where we uncover shocking cases, unsolved mysteries, and the darkest corners of real-life crime. From headline-making events to hidden details buried deep in investigation files, we break down every moment, so you can truly understand what happened and why. These are real people, real tragedies, and real lessons we can't afford to ignore. If you believe in truth, awareness, and justice, please support the channel by subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you're first to know when we uncover the next case. And don't forget, share this video with someone you care about. It might change a life, or even save one. Now let's dive in. Kayla Hodgson was just 23 years old when her life was tragically cut short in the summer of 2022. She lived in the Miami area suburb of Tamarac, Florida, in a residential complex known as Tamarac Village Apartments. The date of the incident was July 13th, 2022. Those who knew Kayla described her as bright, beautiful, and everybody's hype man. Someone with an infectious positive energy. She had aspirations and the momentum of youth on her side, working roles that allowed her to connect socially and support herself independently. In the months leading up to her death, Kayla worked in the hospitality industry. Media reports list her as a bartender or bottle waitress in South Florida. Hodgson's family remained too heartbroken to speak about the loss of a young woman who worked as a bartender. Her time in hospitality placed her in an environment of nightlife, social interaction, and dynamic energy. She would have been used to being around people, late hours, and the fast pace of service work. At the time of the tragedy, Kayla had recently begun a new relationship with a man who was formerly involved with Sakiyna Thompson. This relationship appears to be a key motive in the events that followed, although the full timeline and depth of the relationship are not publicly documented in detail. The shift in her romantic life appears to have triggered a chain of jealousy, social media blocking, and confrontation. Kayla lived in a second-floor apartment in the complex near the 9300 block of Northwest 57th Street in Broward County. On July 13th, she was found dead inside her apartment in the afternoon hours under still investigated and violent circumstances. Sakiyna Thompson is the woman accused and later convicted of first-degree murder in the case of Kayla Hodgson. The publicly available information describes her as formerly of Queens, New York, specifically the Springfield Gardens neighborhood, and a native of Jamaica. In reporting, Thompson is described as having been in her late 20s, around 28, at the time of her arrest in August 2022. Later reports cite her age as 31 at the time of conviction in October 2025. She appears to have been emotionally invested in a prior relationship with Kayla's now boyfriend, and deeply affected when that relationship ended. According to the prosecution, the motive stemmed from jealousy and resentment. Reports say that Thompson was upset about her ex-boyfriend being involved with Kayla and being blocked on social media. While less has been published about him, the ex-boyfriend is the pivotal connection between Kayla Hodgson and Sakiyna Thompson. He was in a prior relationship with Sakiyna Thompson. After that relationship ended, or changed significantly, he became involved with Kayla Hodgson. That shift appears to have triggered Thompson's jealousy. The man in the love triangle was described as the ex of Thompson and the new boyfriend of Hodgson. The motive behind the murder appears to be jealousy, stemming from Thompson's ex-boyfriend's relationship with Hodgson. In the narrative, he functions as the catalyst, the bridge between two women. The person who's moving on is seen as the injury that triggered a murderous response. Because of that, understanding his role is important. He made a choice to enter a relationship with Kayla that appears to have deeply wounded Thompson. That wound, according to prosecutors, morphed into hatred and planning. In the modern age, love doesn't just live in hearts, it lives on screens. Every like, every tag, every story post tells a piece of the story. But what happens when that connection breaks? Not with a goodbye in person, but with a single tap. For Sakiyna Thompson, that tap was the beginning of the end. After a breakup, Sakiyna didn't just lose her boyfriend, she lost visibility into his new life. The man she once called her own was moving on, and the proof was right there online. At first, it was curiosity. She watched, she scrolled, she replayed clips, she checked tags and story views. But soon, curiosity turned into fixation. She couldn't look away, even when it hurt to see. Then, one day the window slammed shut. She was blocked, not just by her ex, but by Kayla too. And that simple action, that digital wall, did something no argument, no distance, no warning could ever do. It silenced her completely. Investigators later said this was the trigger moment. It wasn't the breakup. It wasn't the distance. It was the rejection that came through a phone screen, cold, final, and absolute. To Sakiyna, that block meant erasure. It meant she didn't exist anymore in the life she had once shared. And somewhere inside her, resentment began to grow. Prosecutors would later show how the sequence of events unfolded online first. Flight bookings made within days of being blocked. Search histories showing Kayla's location. Travel records aligning almost exactly with the date she could no longer view her ex's social media. The courtroom testimony revealed a chilling pattern, a digital silence that turned into physical pursuit. On the internet, we think of blocking as harmless, a tool to protect our peace. But in this story, that small act became a fuse. When the screen went dark, Sakiyna's thoughts did not. The line between heartbreak and obsession blurred with every mile she flew south. The messages had stopped, but the story was just beginning. In early July 2022, the air in New York was thick with heat and tension. For days, Sakiyna Thompson barely spoke to anyone. Those who knew her say she seemed distracted, distant, and angry. She moved through her apartment like someone rehearsing a decision already made. She wasn't traveling for vacation. There were no plans for beaches or sunshine. Her destination was Tamarac, Florida, a quiet suburb nearly 1,200 miles away, the same city where Kayla Hodgson lived. Investigators later pieced together her movements with precision. Airline records showed she purchased a one-way ticket from New York to Fort Lauderdale. The date and time lined up almost exactly with when she lost access to her ex's online world. She boarded an early morning flight. Surveillance video captured her walking through JFK Airport, suitcase rolling behind her. To other travelers, she was just another face in the crowd. But in her mind, something darker was brewing, a mission she hadn't spoken aloud to anyone. The trip lasted under 3 hours. The descent into Fort Lauderdale was smooth, uneventful. Outside, palm trees shimmered in the sunlight. But inside her head, thoughts collided like thunder.
Over 2 hours of testifying in her own defense, Sakiyna Thompson told jurors she was jealous of the relationship her boyfriend had with the victim, Kayla Hodgson.
A little, I guess you could say, jealous and insecure.
Thompson admitted to flying from New York to Tamarac in July of 2022, in part to confront Hodgson about the relationship, hoping to convince the other woman to stop. This video shows Thompson showing up unexpectedly at Hodgson's Tamarac apartment at 4 o'clock in the morning. When Hodgson let her in, Thompson says a conversation about their love triangle quickly turned sour. Thompson says Hodgson hit her over the head with a hookah.
She just starts grabbing my hair and punching me, and I'm on the floor. I'm kicking. I'm trying to get up to fight back at this point because now it's a fight.
Thompson was 2 months pregnant at the time. She told the jury she had no choice but to grab something sharp and defend herself. Thompson testified that when she thought Hodgson was dead, she tried to clean up parts of the crime scene with Lysol wipes and paper towels.
Prosecutors later told jurors she arranged transportation quietly, avoiding digital trails where possible. She didn't visit friends or relatives. Her only stop, investigators say, was the Tamarac Village apartments. Neighbors would later tell police they saw a woman they didn't recognize walking near the entrance that day, alone, calm, carrying nothing more than a small bag. Sunlight poured down. The world went on as usual. Behind every murder, there's a moment when fate could still turn back. A door not yet knocked on, a step not yet taken. But for Sakiyna, that moment had already passed. The journey from New York to Florida wasn't just a trip across states. It was a crossing of lines, from heartbreak into obsession, from thought into action. She had come face to face with the person she blamed for her pain. And what began as a confrontation would end as a killing. By the time the plane touched down, the story was already written. She just didn't know how it would end. On July 13th, 2022, at the second-floor apartment of the Tamarac Village Apartments in Broward County, Florida, the moment of tragedy arrived. Prosecutors say Sakiyna Thompson arrived unannounced at the residence of Kayla Hodgson, whom she considered the romantic rival. Inside that morning, moments later, what had begun as a confrontation turned into something far more sinister. According to court testimony, Thompson claimed she was attacked first, that Hodgson struck her hard and cut her with a piece of glass from a hookah. Thompson stated she then blacked out, and when she regained consciousness, Hodgson lay dead and Thompson held a knife. The state's version of events diverged sharply.
State prosecutors questioned Sakiyna Thompson about why she stabbed Kayla Hodgson to death inside of Hodgson's Tamarac home 3 years ago. Thompson told jurors she went to Hodgson's apartment uninvited to talk woman to woman about dating the same man. Thompson claims Hodgson attacked her.
Punching me,
Punching you where?
my face.
Where on your face? Point to it for us.
I don't remember, but everywhere
You
on my
don't
face.
remember where she was punching you in your face?
In my face.
I mean, this is why you killed her, right?
No.
Right?
No.
It's not?
No.
You didn't kill her because she was fighting you?
No, I killed her because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach.
Thompson says she was 2 months pregnant at the time. She says Hodgson cut her stomach with a piece of glass. Thompson grabbed the glass and then blacked out. She allegedly awoke to Hodgson dead on the floor. Gruesome autopsy photos of Hodgson's body show she was stabbed dozens of times.
I wasn't really walking over the blood, I was walking in the blood.
You You walk in the blood?
Yes,
With what shoes?
the BB shoes. I changed my shoes.
Thompson admitted to changing into the victim's clothes, cleaning up some of the crime scene, and being too scared to call police. She also threw evidence in the trash.
No, she's getting close enough because my jacket was cut up.
Okay, your jacket was cut up.
My jacket was cut up.
Okay, and what'd you do with that jacket?
Threw it away.
In the months leading up to the killing, Thompson admitted to getting upset when Hodgson blocked her on social media. The state says she was upset enough to kill.
You wrote her on IG, and she, in fact, ignored your message initially, correct?
Correct.
And that made you angry.
Correct.
Investigators say Hodgson was found with dozens of stab wounds. They allege Thompson planned the attack. She traveled from New York to Florida days beforehand with the purpose of killing Hodgson due to jealousy over her relationship with Thompson's former partner. Court documents describe that Thompson changed out of her blood-soaked clothing into Hodgson's clothes and attempted to dispose of evidence before returning to New York. Neighbors later told deputies they heard nothing unusual early that morning. The tranquility of the complex shattered in silence. The crime scene tape, the body camera footage, and the empty hallway all served as echoing proof that a vibrant young life had been stolen in plain daylight. In an instant, the morning routine of one woman became the final chapter of her story. In the same moment, for another, the journey from hurt to homicide was complete. The door that swung open that morning would close forever on one person's life and open a lifetime of consequence for the other. By the afternoon of July 13th, 2022, detectives from the Broward Sheriff's Office had taken control of the apartment complex. Crime scene technicians photographed every surface, bagged clothing, and cataloged what they found. Kayla Hodgson's body showed multiple sharp force injuries. There were signs of violent struggle, overturned furniture, a broken hookah base, and streaks of blood on the floor. The first question investigators faced was, who had reason to harm her? Within hours, they began looking at phone data, text logs, and social media contacts. Digital traces quickly pointed north. The data showed recent communications between Kayla's boyfriend and a woman in New York, Sakiyna Thompson. The tone of those messages was angry, sometimes desperate. Using airline databases, detectives confirmed a recent passenger traveling under Thompson's name from New York to Fort Lauderdale days before the homicide. When investigators learned she had already returned to Queens, they issued an alert across jurisdictions. Broward detectives coordinated with the New York Police Department and U.S. Marshals Service to locate her. Less than 2 weeks after the killing, officers in Queens arrested Thompson without incident. She was taken to the 113th Precinct and charged with first-degree murder before being extradited back to Florida. Investigators presented a detailed timeline, travel records, store receipts for cleaning supplies, and recovered surveillance showing Thompson entering and leaving the apartment complex. They argued that every movement matched a plan rather than panic. Through interviews, officers built a portrait of two women linked only by one man and the invisible threads of online life. One was gone. The other, sitting in custody, said she couldn't remember what had happened. For detectives, memory didn't matter. Evidence did. And the evidence, they said, told the story clearly. With the arrest complete and extradition paperwork finalized, the next chapter shifted from investigation to justice. The courtroom would soon become the stage where both stories, the victims and the accused, would finally collide. Nearly 2 years after the killing, the courtroom doors opened for a story that had already captured national attention. The case of State of Florida versus Sakiyna Thompson began in October 2024. Jurors filed into the Broward County Judicial Complex, facing evidence that would retrace the final hours of Kayla Hodgson's life. The prosecution described a calculated act born from jealousy. Assistant State Attorney Eric Lister told jurors that Thompson made a choice, boarded a plane, and took a life. The state presented travel itineraries, surveillance footage, and DNA evidence linking Thompson to the weapon recovered in the apartment. The defense took a different route. They called it an act of panic, a confrontation that spiraled out of control. Thompson testified in her own defense. her voice trembling as she told the jury she was struck first and lost control. "I didn't plan this," she said. "I froze." Her attorneys argued that emotional distress clouded her judgment and that she never traveled with intent to kill. They asked the jury to consider manslaughter instead of premeditated murder. Over several days, jurors watched body camera clips, reviewed phone records, and heard expert testimony from forensic pathologists and digital analysts. Each piece built a portrait of motive and opportunity, or, depending on perspective, of a mind unraveling. In closing arguments, prosecutors reminded jurors of the journey, the flight from New York, the confrontation, and the attempts to conceal evidence afterward. They called it a sequence of deliberate acts, not a moment of madness. The defense urged compassion, saying heartbreak and rejection had pushed their client into chaos. After deliberating for several hours, the jury returned with its decision: guilty of first-degree murder. As the verdict was read, the courtroom fell silent. Thompson stood motionless, eyes fixed forward. Judge Martin Fewer sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
State of Florida versus Sakiyna Thompson.
A burden lifted.
We, the jury, find as follows as the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Guilty is what this family has waited to hear for more than 3 years.
We finally have some justice for Kayla.
A jury found Sakiyna Thompson guilty of killing 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson in 2022. Prosecutors argued Thompson surprised Hodgson at her Tamarac apartment, confronted her about the two of them dating the same man, and then stabbed her to death.
December 22nd.
Hodgson's family cried tears of joy in the courtroom Tuesday. They hugged each other tight because a guilty verdict is what they prayed for.
We're so thankful in this moment that the jury was able to see the story for what it is, that Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did.
Defense attorneys insist Thompson didn't start the fight. They say Hodgson hit Thompson first and cut her stomach with a piece of glass. When Thompson took the stand earlier in the week, she admitted she killed Hodgson because her life was in danger and she was pregnant.
She thought, oh God, she's coming for me and my baby. That's when she grabs the glass and then she blacks out.
After the murder, Thompson admitted she changed into the victim's clothes, cleaned up some of the scene, and that she was too scared to call police. She also threw evidence in the trash. A life taken too soon. Years later, the family says they got justice.
And the moment I heard guilty, it was what we all needed for closure in this moment to move forward, to start our healing process. It's been a long 3.5 years.
The ruling closed a chapter that began with a love triangle and ended in irreversible loss. Outside the courthouse, Kayla Hodgson's family embraced, tears mixing with relief. They said justice could never bring her back, but it finally gave her peace. One decision, one moment, 2 lives forever changed. One ended, one imprisoned. And beneath the headlines, the quiet question remains: how does love turn into something that destroys? When the courtroom emptied and the cameras turned off, what remained was silence. The kind that follows every tragedy once the verdict is read and the world moves on. But for 2 families, the story never really ended. Kayla Hodgson's loved one spoke of a woman full of energy, laughter, and ambition. She worked hard, supported her friends, and had plans for the future that stopped in a single morning. Her death left a gap impossible to fill, a reminder of how quickly jealousy can unravel everything that once seemed ordinary. Her family told reporters they wanted her story to serve as a warning. That digital conflict, when left unchecked, can spill into real life with devastating results. They called her death senseless, driven by a moment of anger that could never be undone. For Sakiyna Thompson, the outcome is equally permanent. Life behind bars, no parole, no second chance. In interviews, prosecutors said the case showed how obsession can disguise itself as love, until control replaces care and anger replaces reason. Inside the Florida Department of Corrections, Thompson now serves her sentence, separated from the world that once consumed her attention. The same phone screen that once showed her pain and jealousy is gone, replaced by years of reflection and silence. She pleaded to be allowed to give birth outside of the prison. The boyfriend at the center of the story has since remained largely out of the public eye. Friends say he withdrew from social media after the murder, haunted by the knowledge that 2 women's lives were destroyed because of one fractured relationship. True crime stories often end with a sentence, but their lessons extend much further. This one forces us to look at how technology magnifies emotion, how heartbreak, when combined with constant access to another person's life, can breed dangerous obsession. In the end, the legacy of Kayla Hodgson is not only the tragedy of her death, but the reminder to recognize the warning signs: emotional instability, fixation, and digital escalation, before they lead to irreversible choices. This story began with love and ended in loss, but its echo, perhaps, can teach us all something about the dangers of letting anger drive the heart. Every crime leaves behind a question that evidence can't answer. In the case of Kayla Hodgson and Sakiyna Thompson, the tragedy wasn't born in a single instant. It grew slowly, through resentment, heartbreak, and the silent sting of rejection that technology made impossible to escape. Behind every headline, there are human beings, ordinary people facing emotions that spin out of control. Jealousy, heartbreak, and obsession have always existed. But today, they live in our pockets, glowing from screens that remember everything and forgive nothing. Kayla's story reminds us how fragile life can be when anger replaces empathy. She was a daughter, a friend, a woman who should have had decades more to live. And Sakiyna's fall from ordinary life to a prison cell shows how one unguarded emotion, allowed to grow unchecked, can consume everything it touches. Love, jealousy, pain, they're part of being human. But when we lose control of them, the consequences reach far beyond ourselves. Maybe that's the real message here, that the line between heartbreak and harm is thinner than we think. And once crossed, there's no way back. 2 women, one life taken, another forever confined, linked by a love that became a wound. In the end, all that's left are lessons written in grief. This case reminds us that emotions, jealousy, loss, and heartbreak are universal. But it also reminds us that what we do with them defines who we become. In a world where every feeling can be posted, shared, or blocked, we often forget the power that lies behind a single click. Because sometimes, what begins on a screen can end in the real world, with irreversible consequences. May Kayla's story serve not only as a tragedy, but as a lesson that no message, no post, no heartbreak is worth a life. That's a wrap on today's case. But the story doesn't stop here. There are countless voices still unheard, stories still in the shadows, and truths still waiting to be uncovered. Here at True Crime Diaries, we're dedicated to digging deep, exposing the facts, honoring the victims, and keeping their memories alive. Hit subscribe, like this video, turn on notifications so you're always first to know when new case drops. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.